We've been very lucky this morning. We're getting to explore underground, an extraordinary underground railway that's set up by the Royal Mail, but now disused beneath the streets of London, abandoned, but now back in action.
It's going to be back in action, yeah. And Tim Muffet gets to play with the trains underground. Morning, Tim.
Yeah, I'm living out my boyhood dreams here this morning. It's not often you get to broadcast live from a disused, abandoned railway network underneath London, but that is exactly what this is. Construction on these tunnels began 100 years ago. 90 years ago, they went into service. They were the basis of Mail Rail, a system of transporting mail across the capital. It transformed the way post was sorted and delivered. Now from September these will be available to explore for members of the public, and from today a postal museum, a new postal museum opens in London which tells the story of our postal network. I've been taking a look. Throughout its 500-year history, the Royal Mail's mission has remained pretty much unchanged.
And now down the chute, into the vans.
To harness technology of the day to deliver letters and parcels as quickly and accurately as possible. This new postal museum shows how deliveries have evolved. But by the early 20th century, the mail system in London faced two big problems. Heavy fog caused by smoke billowing from chimneys and heavy traffic. The answer lay below ground. In 1927, this underground rail network opened.
On the Post Office Tube Railway, 25,000 mail bags a day travel through 6.5 miles of tunnels below crowded city pavements.
For 75 years, unmanned trains shuttled mail between 6 sorting offices and 2 railway stations, Liverpool Street and Paddington. Bit of a squeeze, but I guess
it is a bit of a squeeze.
Designed for letters, not people.
Yeah, exactly right.
Okay. The service was stopped in 2003, but passengers will soon be able to ride specially adapted trains through the tunnels.
It was a really important part of moving the mail and speeding up the process of moving the mail. It was essential to allowing that communication to happen quickly and to get that mail delivered as quickly as people needed it.
Switch cabins keep everything under control, bringing trains to a stop on loading platforms.
There was about 220 people working on the railway at the peak in a shift pattern. It was a 24-hour operation, and there was a huge team of people with different jobs and responsibilities.
Focal point and brain of the show is the signalling map.
In 2003, the service stopped. Its running costs were deemed too high. Transporting mail above ground was considered more cost-effective, even though some disagreed.
This is one of the mail platforms. This is where the trains would have stopped and the mail would have been loaded into the containers.
The suddenness of the system's closure also surprised many.
It almost looks like it was abandoned.
Yeah, and pretty much was. I mean, the equipment was all left down here, newspapers and things like that still laying around, all the trolleys, the trains were all still down here.
Soon to become a quirky visitor attraction, for some, Mail Rail has been underappreciated.
The postal service really is the first social network, keeping people in touch, allowing people to stay in touch over distance and quickly, and it was important, the speed was important, and that's what Mail Rail was about, speeding that system up.
And we have been given special permission to broadcast from the tracks of the network this morning. Members of the public won't normally be allowed to do that, I should make that clear. Let's have a quick chat to Ray. You used to work on Mail Rail, didn't you? What's it like to be back here, your former workplace?
Well, it's interesting now to see the way they've changed everything. They've opened everything up and they've put platforms up so everyone can see the new attractions. It's a remarkable piece of work.
What was it like to work here?
It was very busy and very noisy down here. We were running over 20 hours a day and we'd have a train in the station every 6 minutes, loading and unloading mail, very busy.
What impact did it have on the way post was sorted and delivered, not just in London but across the country?
It was a very important part of the postal network because it connected district offices in central London, 2 of the major rail hubs, Liverpool Street and Paddington, and from there the rest of the world.
And it was a real community, wasn't there? There was about 200 people or so who worked on the system?
Over 200 people on Mail Rail, and it was very much a team spirit because it was a closed environment and everyone felt they belonged to the same thing.
Welcome back. And Adrian, you're from the Postal Museum, aren't you? How important is it that a piece of heritage like this is reopened?
Oh, it's a fantastic thing for us to be able to offer members of the public the opportunity to see this sort of heritage. It's not very often you not only get the chance to look at a piece of it, but also to be in an object, smell it, ride it, touch it, and see everything that Mail Rail's got to offer.
And do you think that in a way this is unknown to many people, isn't it? And it's extraordinary because part of the route is actually near to where the new Crossrail will be, won't it?
Exactly, yes. This could be said to be the Crossrail of its time in many ways. The tunnel, particularly at Liverpool Street, is very close to Crossrail, and even here at Mount Pleasant, not too far away.
And I was fascinated to hear that when you reopen these tunnels after they've been abandoned for 17 years, there were no rats, there were no mice. Why was that?
Well, the reason was, of course, there was no food because this railway was for post, not people. So when people get the chance to ride these trains, they'll be among the first to go down there. There was no food for the rats, therefore no rats, no mice, no vermin.
It's very, very clean. It's good to hear. Thanks very much indeed. Well, as I say, from September, this Mail Rail will be available in those special trains we saw in the report. And from today, the rest of the Postal Museum opens. And it is a fascinating story. 500 years in some form or other the mail system has been in operation in Britain. So it's quite some story. But for now, it's an amazing feeling being right at the edge of a 6.5 mile secretive underground rail network beneath London, which many people simply didn't know existed.